today on Always and Forever, we have someone who has continued to make an impact beyond her years of service, and that's Sierra Jones, who was Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen 2005 and Miss Florida 2008. I'm so excited for you all to hear from her today.
Hi. Thanks, Hannah. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. Can you share a little bit about who you are and what made you decide to compete in the Miss Florida program?
Yes. So as you said, I'm Sierra Jones, formerly Sierra Minott. That's what you would know me as in pageant world. But I am currently living in Fort Myers, Florida, which is my hometown. And I am married to my husband, Scott, and we're about to celebrate 8 years of marriage. And we have 2 precious kiddos, Amelia, who is 4, and Daniel, who is 1. And yes, she is my mini-me. So I have a blast with them. I get to stay home with them. So learning the ropes of motherhood is both the hardest and best thing ever. But I got involved in the Miss America organization kind of on a whim. I had never done a pageant before, but like many girls to get involved, I needed scholarships. And so I learned about it in my TV production class at my high school. I was a junior, 17 years old. And when I learned about the values of the Miss America organization, I was basically immediately hooked. And so I entered this local Southwest Florida teen competition, and 3 weeks later was at Florida's Outstanding Teen and was totally overwhelmed in a good way. And when I won that night, I just knew that I was getting to be a part of something so much bigger than myself. And so I kind of just say the rest is history.
And so you were the first Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen, first official Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen. What was that year of being the Outstanding Teen like, and what was your favorite part about it?
Yeah, so that was a really, really special year. It was the first official Outstanding Teen year. And so I was crowned in April, and then I actually had 3 months to prepare for the national competition. And that is still one of my most favorite experiences that I've ever, just as a young woman getting to be part of, the inception of this program. And again, just learning the values of the Miss America organization. You're meeting young women, high school students. Our girl who was first runner-up at that pageant was 13 years old, and she was amazing, incredibly talented, smart, kind. I still keep in touch with some of those girls, as I'm sure you probably do too. And so, the year getting to experience that national pageant was, I would say, the highlight of my year in terms of like an event or experience. But then, for me, just getting to know the Miss Florida organization, getting to see the Miss contestants, getting to have my Miss Florida, Mari Walensky, Miss Florida 2005, just looking up to those women and having them as role models was very impactful on me. And then, of course, probably the biggest difference between my year and yours is social media. We did not have social media back then. And my appearances were just my appearances. I wasn't posting anything. I wasn't really sharing anything on the internet. But it was still a very impactful experience for me. So I always kind of do people know what it's like to be a title holder without social media? But yeah, I didn't have quite as busy of an appearance schedule as you do now because the program has grown so much, but it was still amazing people in the Miss Florida family to work with. I had an amazing board, and just getting to kind of be the first one was really special.
Yeah, Florida's the best. I love board and directors.
Yeah.
So fast forward, you went on to become Miss Palm Beach County 2008, and then from there you went on to capture the title of Miss Florida. You were the first Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen to ever win Miss Florida, and you were also 4th runner-up at Miss America 2009. So wow. What was your greatest takeaway from your year of service?
Yeah. you say all that, and then I think my greatest takeaway is that it's not about you. You know, it wasn't about me in terms of what I could gain, the attention that I could gain. It was more, for me, I learned about putting the attention back on other people. So, you know, you're given a crown and a sash and a platform, and yes, you get to do really fun, special things. You get to be honored at different events. And that's great. It's fun. Who doesn't love that? But if that's where it stops for you, then you really miss out on the blessing of the entire experience. And so I can remember, I have such vivid memories of just, you know, being in an auditorium, talking to a student one-on-one, or, you know, meeting somebody on the road that was just kind of random, and yet you get to have a really meaningful conversation. And so I know it might sound kind of corny, but, you know, I was the one wearing the crown, but my goal was always to hope that the other person that I'm talking to would feel like they were wearing a crown, that, you know, they were just as special of a person as Miss Florida. And so, you know, you look back and you just realize, you know, you were able to impact people, but other people really impact you so much during your year. And that is a life lesson that we carry, you know, with us forever, right? I mean, this life is really not about us in terms of what we can gain and what we can get and what we can do. It's all about how we take the gifts that God has given us and bless others with them and make other people feel special, other people feel important. And that's what's really fulfilling.
For sure. That's what this year is all about. And I've looked up to you in that way where I could just simply tell by looking at a picture of you or hearing about you that your heart behind it was about serving others. And that, I think that's just so encouraging to hear. You know, you don't want this year to be about yourself. You want it to be about how you can serve the organization and the state and, leave it better than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So after Miss Florida, you graduated from Palm Beach Atlantic University with your bachelor's degree, and then you went on to pursue a master's in ministry leadership. What made you decide to go into ministry?
Yeah, so crazy enough, it was my experience as Miss Florida when I really felt like God was calling me into ministry as a vocation. And so my opportunities that I had to speak to young people all over the state were all very special to me. But the scenarios where I was actually able to incorporate my faith and share that with young people was really what made me feel like that was my reason for being. And so I kind of got to discover that as Miss Florida. And so, yeah, like you said, after I graduated with my bachelor's, I had not planned on getting a theological education, but it just seemed like that was the next step for me. And knowing that if I wanted to make any kind of career out of ministering to young women, offering resources for them in terms of Bible studies, then I wanted to get that education. And for me, the emphasis on young women comes from my personal story of, you know, literally right before I heard about the Miss America organization, I had just really gone through a big transformation in my life in terms of God really getting my attention and showing me who I am and whose I am. And that was the message that I shared with young people and continue to just hold so dear, that if we know who we are, created in God's image as individuals with gifts and talents and abilities and value, and if we know whose we are, that we belong to the creator of the universe, then that's where our confidence comes from. And so I could see light bulbs going off for young people as I would share that with them. And so I knew that I'm like, okay, that's it. I can't do anything else with my life. I want to be able to share Jesus. And, you know, right now that's something I get to do with my children every day as my career in motherhood. But that's kind of what led me there.
Wow, that's so good. I love that. So now, like you said, you have such a cute family, such a sweet family. I love seeing pictures of you guys. And you also have a small business with Beautycounter. So what made you decide to get started with that company? And can you share a little bit about their mission as a brand?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of another unexpected thing in my journey was getting involved in Beautycounter. And very simply, Beautycounter's mission is to get safer products into the hands of everyone. And I learned about this movement when I was actually pregnant with our daughter. And I started learning that the cosmetic industry, the personal care industry is virtually unregulated. So companies can choose to put whatever ingredients in their products and not have to disclose them entirely on the label. And many of those ingredients have not been tested for safety on human health. So you take, for example, our cosmetics and our soaps and our shampoos and everything need preservatives, right? To not go gross. But a common preservative is formaldehyde. And we know that that's something you usually see in science class. Or there's a class of preservatives called parabens, and parabens can actually mimic estrogen. And so for us as women especially, that is something we do not need on our skin, because say for teenage girls, an overproduction of estrogen can actually is linked to breast cancer later in life. And so there's just a lot of data that actually does show that some of these ingredients are harmful. And then there's a data gap where these ingredients have not even been tested. So just to keep it brief, that's kind of the heart behind Beautycounter, is to educate consumers on safety for their products. We formulate safe products that are gorgeous. All of my cosmetics, all of my personal care products are Beautycounter. And I would absolutely encourage you, as a young woman watching this, to look at your labels, talk to your mom, look at Beautycounter is not the only company doing this, but we are the leading brand. So there are other, you can just kind of do the research yourself on what clean products might be better for you. And then the whole piece about Beautycounter is that we advocate for more health protective laws for consumers. So I love it because it reminds me of what you do as a title holder. You have kind of the beauty aspect, the performance aspect, and then you have the advocacy piece. And so for me, Beautycounter was a really great fit.
Wow, that's so awesome to hear. And I love that you continue on to serving others and wanting to help them. And it's really great. And so I like to ask people that are on Always and Forever some questions.
Okay.
Questions, but this is a set list of questions I like to ask them. And the first one is, who is one of your favorite forever Miss Floridas and or Miss Americas?
Yeah, so I think I would give another shout out to my Miss Florida 2005, Mari Walensky. Broom is her married name, because she, I think, always treated people the same. No matter who it was, no matter what the appearance was, if it was the fanciest appearance or if it was the most casual appearance and you didn't know what to expect, she always treated people the same. And she was just really down to earth and really fun. So that has really always had an impact on me. And then, goodness, like you said, there's so many. I love all my Miss Florida sisters. I could talk about them all day. And then we've had so many great Miss Americas. I remember Lauren Nelson, who was Miss America 2007. Just in a similar way, she just carried herself with such a peace and a confidence and kind of this understated glamour, which I think kind of reminds me of Grace Kelly, who is like one of my fashion icons and just, women of history that I really admired. So yeah, probably those two.
So when you were competing, what was your favorite area of competition?
Yeah, so speaking of elegance, I think I'd have to go with evening wear, which of course has changed a lot since I competed, but I think, some people might think that's like a boring category or something, but for me, it was always a chance to kind of connect with the audience without even saying a word. So you're on stage, of course, you're in a beautiful gown, you feel like $1 million, but connecting with the audience by how you're gazing at the crowd and just really pulling them into that moment was something that I just never wanted to end.
So for girls who are going to be competing for Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen and Miss Florida next summer, what is your best piece of pageant advice for them?
Yeah, so I think it is to approach the competition as if you've already won. And I want to clarify that I do not mean you walk in there like, hey, everybody get out the way. I'm, the next title holder. I mean, the way you approach it mentally. Say you're walking into the room with those judges. You don't walk into the room with the judges thinking, oh, I really hope that they're going to pick me. You walk in like, hey, if you're looking for the next Miss Florida's Outstanding Teen, you're looking for the next Miss Florida, I'm her. The search is over. Let's have this conversation. Get to know me. I am everything you're looking for. So you still have to have, I personally think one of the greatest qualities of a title holder is humility. So you still have that humility. But if you really are that girl that they're looking for, you know the balance of humility and confidence. And so instead of striving and thinking, spending all week hoping that, you're going to get picked, you just show up and stop. You don't try to be that title holder, just be her. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
Awesome. So lastly, how can people keep up with you and Beautycounter on social media?
Yeah, so Beautycounter, you can go, we do have a social media account that you can follow. My personal, it would just be at Beautycounter. My personal social media, I am not very active on because I spend so much time with the kiddos. But you can find me on Instagram at Sierra G. Jones and on Facebook, just Sierra Jones. And like I said, I don't post a lot of life things, but you can certainly reach out if you have questions on Beautycounter or faith or anything we've talked about, pageants, competition. In this interview, you can DM me. But yeah, I feel like I'm kind of a downer because I'm like not super active on social media. But what can you do?
Well, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your story, sharing your journey in the Miss Florida program and life after the crown. I'm so excited for people to watch this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hannah. You are an awesome role model, and it's really great to see what you've done with this as we've all had to go through the coronavirus together. So I know lots of girls are watching you and your story, and I'm excited for you to be around a little longer.
Oh, well, that means so much to me. I loved catching up with you, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.